Hundreds of thousands of people have signed a petition to get the CEO of Reddit fired. Now, Ellen Pao is in the middle of a lot of controversy because of the fact that she fired one of the people who helps moderate Ask Me Anything, which is one of the biggest subreddits on Reddit. Now, the controversy actually started on July 2nd, when Reddit dismissed someone by the name of Victoria Taylor, a popular staffer who coordinated the hugely successful Ask Me Anything Q&A sessions with public figures. Now, understand that her job, Taylor's job, was basically to work with the paid employees of Reddit and also the volunteer employees of Reddit in order to get things running, in order for things to run smoothly on certain subreddits, including Ask Me Anything. When she got fired, all of a sudden, the people who are volunteering on the site were wondering what's going on and who's going to replace her, because without her, things aren't going to run as smoothly. Let me give you some more information. Some of the popular subreddits set to private last week included Ask Me Anything, gaming, history, art, videos, and funny, though most went back up by midday Friday. And that was basically a response to Taylor getting fired, okay? The volunteer employees at Reddit were like, well, you know what? If you guys aren't going to give us answers, and if you're not going to help us do our jobs, which, by the way, we're doing for free, then we're going to set these subreddits to private, and we're going to make a very strong statement about this. Okay, so the drama continued, okay? So a moderator on Ask Me Anything subreddit that Taylor presided over explained in a Reddit post on Thursday that Taylor was an integral part in keeping the page running, and that removing her without proper notice was like having the rug ripped out from under them.
So actually, a lot of the people who are this volunteer labor, they're not employees, obviously, they're just volunteering to do this, said it didn't begin as a protest as much as we literally didn't have the help we needed from Reddit to run these subreddits, right? So when you fired her, who do you think was going to do her job? Who do you think was going to help run these subreddits? Well, we didn't know who to turn to. So they had, like, Stephen Hawking was supposed to come on, and like, who's going to run it? I don't know, right?
Yeah.
And it cascaded through the different subreddits, and then some apparently, and everybody's got slightly different stories on this, but saying, okay, then it became like a protest in hindsight to back up the other subreddits that were understaffed and couldn't continue. And then the guys running Reddit came and stepped in, and oh boy, it got worse then.
Yeah, it really did get worse because they didn't have very many answers in how they're going to help these volunteers who, by the way, keep their business running. I didn't know this, but Reddit only employs 60 people. So all of these other subreddits and all of these pages that are being moderated by people are being moderated by volunteer labor. Okay, they're not getting paid for anything. And so if you rely on them for your business model to work, then you got to give them what they need in order for things to run smoothly. If there's a lack of transparency, then of course they're going to get upset about this, and of course they're going to blame the CEO for it. Now let's go to graphic 29. I think this perfectly explains why individuals are really upset about it. So with their submissions and comments, Reddit's rank and file users effectively provide free content and labor to Reddit and parent company Advanced Publications, in exchange for which they get no money, just reputation points and occasional Reddit gold, not to be confused with real gold. Now, Ellen Pao did respond to this, and she says that she wants to make things better. And she concedes that she hasn't really listened to the feedback that she's been given over the last few months. She says, we screwed up, not just on July 2nd, but also over the past several years. We haven't communicated well, and we have surprised moderators and the community with big changes. We have apologized and made promises to you, the moderators, and the community over many years, but time and time again, we haven't delivered on them. When you've had feedback or requests, we haven't always been responsive. The mods in the community have lost trust in me and in us, the administrators on Reddit.
So that's a good apology. Unfortunately, Alexis Ohanian came on for one afternoon and got defensive, which I can understand, but that didn't help his cause.
Yeah.
And so that had done some damage, and now an actual good apology begins to mend fences. So look, I feel for both sides here. And so why, on the guys running Reddit, I've been there, right? So I run the Young Turks, and so it's not always easy. And people think, well, you got a company, why don't you do X, Y, or Z? Well, we don't always necessarily have a ton of resources, and I don't know how much resources Reddit has. And so it's easier to think, but we're not IBM, we're not GE, and sometimes things do get chaotic. So I get it from their perspective, and it's tough to run that, right? And with the resources you have. Of course, guys on the other side of the equation go, wait a minute now, I've been giving a lot of my time to you guys. So I think it's fair to ask that, that we get a certain modicum of communication, transparency, respect, etc. Now, those are all things that are tough to negotiate because they get it too. The guys who are worried about this, who are running the subreddits, etc., and the volunteers say, look, I know you're not going to tell me everything you do at Reddit, and you're not going to give me access to the books or anything like that. But, if you're going to fire somebody, let us know ahead of time so we don't cancel. And that's super fair.
Yeah,
right?
I think what the volunteer labor is asking for is extremely, extremely reasonable. And, my first read of this story was, oh, people are just upset because she's getting rid of, harassing subreddits. I know people don't like that because all of a sudden there's a little bit of censorship. But no, it goes way beyond that. I mean, when you're leading massive changes within a company that's well respected, that's well liked, all of a sudden people are going to want to know what's going on. Why are these things changing? Why is it that the person that we've been working with for so long is now gone, and who's going to replace her? These are all reasonable questions that they have that haven't been answered. So hopefully things will change from this point forward.
Yeah. So, I agree with the reasonable guys in the middle saying, of course, you're not going to get access to every single decision. And who knows, maybe they're in some ways protecting the person they fired. We don't know why they fired her, right? Like, I don't know, and I don't want to speculate, right? But I think, of course, with the benefit of hindsight, I'm sure the people running Reddit would also agree, based on their apology, that, boy, we should have communicated with our audience a little bit better. Because they're not, and it's not just that they're our audience, they're the people who help keep this thing together, who help run it. So we wish we'd have been clearer with them, and I think we can all agree to that.